everyone who has lived in the dorms is paying too much for the dorms. Dorms per month cost $562.50, according to the University of North Dakota Housing Staff 2019 on their online website. The current policy is that every freshman with under the age of 20 and with less than 24 transferable credits to UND must live in the dorms. In addition to living in the dorms, they also have to purchase a meal plan. With that, the meal plans that the freshmen have available to them are between $2,500 to $2,600 as well. We, a collaborative group of UND students who have all lived on campus, petition that the University of North Dakota Housing should enact a policy change. We should no longer require freshmen to live on campus their first year. They should no longer be required to purchase a meal plan. In addition, we're going to go through some counter arguments to that, and we'll also discuss some possible meal plan changes.
So the major policy that we're trying to change here is the fact that students in their first year at university are required to live on campus. We would like to change this so that they now have the option to either live on campus or live in an apartment or equivalent residency. And therefore, with this, it would be impossible not to abide by it, as you would either be living on campus or you would be living off campus. The university would likely initially object to this, as this is a major source of their income, but if and when they do choose to change their minds, it would take virtually no time to implement this, as there's no real cost associated with it. You would just have to start it at the beginning of a new semester, or ideally the beginning of a new school year, because that's when people start looking for the new apartments or dorms. So one of the first things that people notice when they walk into the dorm for the first time is the size is about the size of a bread box. You have 2 beds on either side, a couple of desks, and a small little hallway you can walk down, and that's where you're cooped up for the majority of the entire year. That gets very tiring very quickly. Over the course of 2 or 3 years, if you so choose to live there for that amount of time, it gets a little bit overwhelming. However, in an apartment, you not only have the living space of sleeping and the small living space in between it, you have an individual living room area, which is significantly larger than what the dorm itself is, along with a bedroom that's about the size of the 2-person dorm anyway. So according to Flamini's 2018 online article, as I just showed you with the sizes, the size of a small apartment in Boston is approximately 3 times the size of an associated dorm in that respective school, which is an incredible difference. You have more space to do homework, more space to cook for yourself, and more space to just unwind. Another major factor with this is the cost associated with living on campus and living off campus. Living off campus can be much, much cheaper than doing so. According to the USM staff's 2013 online article, the average cost of living on campus in a dorm is approximately $550 per month, and this is just the cost of living. This doesn't include the cost of our next point, which is a meal plan. The meal plan adds, as Kyler talked about, dividing it out, about $150 per month extra for the meal plan, which the grand total then is about $700 per month. Personally, myself, in my apartment that I'm living in up here, with that much more space, that much more freedom, is about $400 per month. So the cost is a significantly better aspect for that case.
And I want to kickstart with the according to UND dining staff in 2019 on the online article saying resident hall students are required to purchase a meal plan. Wow. Therefore, we enact the second policy change is students/freshmen should have the option whether they should have to choose to have a meal plan or a block plan or even a no meal plan at all. And these are my points. My first point is meal plan is not for everyone. My friend, he's a Muslim, and in Wilkerson apparently there's not enough of halal food was Muslim friendly. Therefore he goes in and he can only eat crude cheeses and fish almost every day. And apparently in this case he can certainly have a better well-cooked meal, not the same food that he has to eat almost every day. And speaking of the same food, no matter how many options there are in Wilkerson or how nice stir-fried noodles can get, you will eventually get bored. And when you're bored of the food, you tend to go out of campus to get the good food. And even though the stomachs can feel a little bit better with that, but it also jumped up your cost, and it comes with a side of guilt. And incoming freshmen, watch out! This is the turkey for Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah. All right. So the second point I want to make is you can only eat when the dining halls are open, and it might sound ridiculous, but I stayed here last winter. And the winter time is outrageous. Breakfast 7 to 8, lunch 11 to 1, and dinner 5:30 to 6:30. Colliding with the lack of equipment, like cooking equipment and food options in the dining center, I have to spend almost $200 in 3 weeks just to go out and eat. And the last point I want to make is the cost. According to USDA staff in 2019 online report, normal average American in our age spend around $250 per month, which accumulate to $1,000 per semester, comparing to $2,500 per semester, whose advantages is only you can eat how many you want and whenever you like. But as college students, we usually skip breakfast just to have more sleep. Therefore, we only need to eat twice per day. So some math will help you realize how much it costs. $2,500 per month for 4 months, which accumulated to $625 per month. $42 per day, eat twice per day, that means $21 per meal. That's pretty expensive. And to sum up, I want to cite Bill Fay from his 2018 online article. The best way to keep food costs from sending you deeper into debt is to prepare your own meal as often as possible. Now, Kelly will talk about the counterpoints.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the possibilities of keeping the living on campus / off campus policy the same as discussed by Tyler, but the opposite. So keeping it the same allows for many advantages for incoming freshmen. When you live in the dorm, you're in the center of campus. As you can see, there's classes not too far from you, the Wellness Center and the Ralph, which is some fun activities to do just on top. Just a little visual to see how the dorms are nice and in the center of campus. You're also close to a lot of your friends, so this makes it a lot easier to integrate into the college lifestyle as an incoming freshman. You're always surrounded by other undergrads who can help you with school problems, life problems, and always somebody to go to Wilkerson with to eat. As talked about by the My College Options staff in their 2019 article, The Great Debate to Live on Campus or Off Campus, they say that the relationships you make influence your college experience just as much as your time spent in the classroom or hitting the books. So while you're out there studying, you also want to make sure that you are spending a lot of time making new friends and making those everlasting connections. Also, living on campus means that there's a lot of facilities that are close by, so like the Wellness Center, the library, or some place to eat. And the dorms also come furnished, which is a nice plus for costs, even though they are still very expensive. But changing the policy would bring up some other issues. So the top 3 would be your GPA, easier to skip class, and your sense of belonging. So when you live off campus, statistics show that there's a stronger correlation of having a lower GPA. And when you live vice versa on campus, you have a higher GPA. When you're in college, obviously you want to be doing well and have higher grades. The second point is that it's easier to skip class. When you live off campus, your motivation deteriorates. You're not going to want to get into your car. You're not going to want to go outside in that freezing weather just to go to class where you're going to sit and doze off. But when you live on campus, there's a higher chance of you actually getting out of your bed and going to that class that you are paying money for. And the final point is a sense of belonging. When you live in the dorm, you're surrounded by other friends, and your friends are just 20 feet away. But when you live off campus, you can feel more isolated from your school and your peers. And especially as an incoming freshman, this will make it a lot more difficult to make those friendships and connections that partly define your college experience. As discussed by the St. Olaf College staff in their 2019 article, the pros and cons of living off campus.
UND's meal plan does have quite a few benefits. As H.R. Miller's 2006 book, Complete Guide to the College Experience, provides plenty of food opportunities for different students that don't know how to cook, they don't have the time to, or for out-of-state students, international students, they just don't have the cooking equipment that they brought from home to cook themselves. It's extremely convenient, and as growing adults, we need the proteins, the nutrients to grow, to be able to study, because we're still growing adults. And it's Wilkerson itself provides a great opportunity, as Keely said, to meet up with different students, to make friends, try new foods, and to develop your own independence food-wise. Alison Lombardo's 2005 book recommended students to invite a few people for an informal dinner, just to group up, to meet new friends and such. Now, there are quite a few issues that arise from making UND's meal plan an option rather a requirement. Most likely, students would see that option and say, oh, maybe I can live by myself. Maybe I don't need to go and spend $2,500 on a meal plan that I might not use entirely. Now, when students take this option, that means that you're going to have a much smaller budget for UND's meal plan. When the budget decreases, then the food quality goes down further than some might argue it already is. When the food quality decreases and less students want to go and actually pay for the meal plan, that means that UND would have to compensate with that lack of income by increasing the meal plan even further, which would then continue that snowball effect of having less students pay for it, less income, and then the extreme result would have UND cancel the program altogether. It wouldn't be affordable. UND wouldn't be making any profit from the meal plan itself, and so canceling it would result in UND's potential high school students from seeing UND as an actual college that they want to go to. Meal plans for some students are a necessary requirement and a big draw from multiple colleges.
This deliberation has shown that it's clear that freshmen should be at least given the opportunity to choose to live off campus. We've talked about how the current policy, our plans to change the policy to have freshmen not live on campus, change the meal plans, and some counter arguments. I believe the money alone shows that this deliberation should be further talked about with UND Housing Department. Thank you.